Welcome to experience Alaska with me in the summer. This is part 2 of my Alaska travel series. 2019 was a great year. The year that we decided on the spot to tick off Alaska from my bucket list. In this video, we departed Denali National Park and started exploring the southern and western part of Alaska. The landscape, glaciers, and the wildlife are what make the place unique and are drawing me to this remote and mystery land. We have been hearing about the impact of global warming, but often it doesn't seem personal and relevant until you're faced with the changes. This trip took place in June and July 2019. It is the early summer season entering into midsummer, when days are long and the sun sets around midnight. The long daylight really plays with your mind. Before you knew it, it was already 11 o'clock at night. I never got enough sleep because we were carried away by the beauty of the place and often lost track of time. This is a summer when temperature exceeded record high and reached over 32 degrees in Anchorage. Needless to say, this is not a usual thing for Alaska. A moose was spotted cooling down in a fountain in someone's garden in Anchorage. To break up the long drive, we spent the night in Anchorage and set out early in the following morning, passing through Turnagain Arm, which looks a bit hazy to me. This is probably quite normal, I thought to myself. Global warming has the ice and glaciers melting more rapidly than ever. We came to this visitor center hoping to catch a glimpse of the floating icebergs of the Portage Glacier. But there was no ice to be seen. In the 60s, the glacier was halfway across the lake. Byron Glacier Trail is my favorite walk in Alaska, as you'll reach the massive Byron Glacier just following the trail for 20 minutes, almost suitable for anyone. At the start of the trail, you'll soon come across Byron Creek, which was flowing with so much force that the sound of the flowing water was almost deafening.
Woohoo!
It was a very unique experience to walk on a glacier wearing a t-shirt while you're taking every step on the snow-covered land. It strangely does not even feel cold. This is Anton Anderson Memorial Tunnel, not just any tunnel. It was built in 1943 as a railroad tunnel to connect inland Bear Valley with the small port city of Whittier. The tunnel was built beneath Maynard Mountain and is now not only the longest highway tunnel in North America, but also one of a few to service both rail traffic and regular vehicles. A toll is collected from vehicles traveling eastbound. One thing on my agenda was to hike the Portage Pass Trail to see Portage Glacier. This is a 6.8 kilometer out and back trail with a steep ascent to 437 meters. The climb was intense, but the view at the top was rewarding. I was in awe when I saw the massive glacier at the end of the trail. The glacier used to be accessible from a trail starting at the Baggage Box Visitor Center. As the glacier has retreated, you have the choice of taking a boat tour to get close to the glacier or take the hike up to see it from the top. Exit Glacier was the third glacier we visited. It is located in the Kenai Fjord National Park. The swift retreat of the glacier is a clear sign of how global warming can affect the region in a very short time. Looking at the markers on the trail, it is so real. In recent years, the retreat is nearly 100 meters per single year. The big question is, will Exit Glacier exit completely very soon? Whilst you're in Seward, the marine tour is not to be missed. I was really looking forward to this marine tour, which took 7 hours and took us deep into the Kenai Fjord to reach North Western Fjord. Loads of wildlife to see on this tour. My favorite was the adorable puffins, super cute sea otters, and big massive Stella seals and harbor seals. Occasionally, the boat stopped with whales passing by. The tour also took us to the North Western Glacier at the furthest point, where hundreds of harbor seals were resting on the floating ice, and everyone waiting quietly for that sound from ice calming. We passed by stunning waterfalls that fall into the ocean. Before we knew it, we were on the way back. In fact, in Seward, you will see marine life everywhere without even going on a marine tour. Taking a walk along Resurrection Bay, you will spot harbor seals catching fish, sea otters casually floating on the water if you're paying attention. And for me, it was still not enough. We visited the Alaska Sea Life Center so that I can get even closer to the wildlife. By now, you must have noticed that the air quality seemed really bad when we went to see the Exit Glacier and were on the marine tour. In fact, the smog was getting worse since we left Anchorage. Only then did I realize that this wasn't a normal hazy day, but was the very impact of the wildfires that Alaska was going through during the time of our visit. Wildfires are normal for the Alaskan forests. However, the 2019 fire season was an extreme one with 2.5 million acres burned. I wonder how many wildlife the fires have displaced or destroyed. The fires are now burning for a much longer period. Scientists say that it is likely that climate change not only plays a major part in causing the fires, but that the carbon being released as smoke might be making the warming effect worse. Driving on the Sterling Highway, we got very close to some of these fires. The air was not breathable, and I feared for our lives. All I wanted was to drive through and get away from the fires as fast as possible. Luckily, when we got close to Homer, the air quality started to improve. Homer was the last destination on my route, a little town that I debated with myself whether it's worth the additional 4-hour drive from Seward to get to. It turned out to be my favorite place of all. It's located at the very end of the US highway system, where the land ends and the sea begins. And this has also become my favorite part. Indeed, this is what you see and how you feel when you're there. From Homer, we took a photography adventure to Kenai National Park by air, where the grizzly bears live and visitors can see them up close. Bears roaming around with the glaciers in the background. It was a rare and beautiful scene that cannot be experienced elsewhere in the world. My Alaska trip episode 3 will take you on the bear viewing trip. Finally, departing Homer, we're on our way back to Anchorage. On Sterling Highway, we had to drive through the fires again. This trip has shown me how imminent of an issue global warming is, and the whole world should join efforts to combat it. The last day in Anchorage, we visited the Eagle River Nature Reserve, hoping to get my final fix of the Alaskan forest and wildlife. We came across a moose in the forest and had no bear threat. The trail was blocked by a stream from melting glacier that was not expected. A lot of fun till the very end. The holiday had limited days and had to end. There was never enough time to see everything. And this only means that there will be another trip to explore and go deeper into the heart of Alaska.